Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Press. We're reaching you live from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Like I told you earlier, I have two guests on the show today, and my first guest is Richard Oriri, who is a politician. Great to have you on the show, Richard.
It's my pleasure, Annabel. Good morning.
Good morning. And my next guest to analyze the story today is Gloria Ukwenga, who is Executive Director, Africana League. Great to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning. All right, so let's get straight to our headline for this morning. Our phone lines are now open. You can call in to make your contributions, ask your questions, but remember to leave it at just 1 minute and turn down the volume of your TV set. Abdul Salami, Jonathan, others, OK State Police as IGP defers, and that's what you find on the Nation newspaper. In fact, all of the headlines have the same story with regards to state police. If you go to the Nigerian Tribune, says Nigeria not right for state police. That's coming from the IGP. But then on the flip side, you have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying that state policing a milestone in law enforcement evolution. And then former President Jonathan says state policing is crucial to effective management of internal security. Same thing you have General Abdul Salami also saying, but the IGP says no to it. Let's start with you, Richard Oriri. What are your thoughts with regards to state policing? Is it, according to the IGP, Nigeria is not right for it because politicians will use it at their own whims and caprices, or Jonathan and Tinubu on the other side saying that we are ripe and ready to move with regards to state policing?
Thank you, Annabel. Good morning, Nigerians. Concerning the state policing, from the beginning of my argument in that line, I've been on the side of, I can say even now, I am still on the side of the IGP. The IGP position is the best position for all of us as Nigerians. The country is not ripe as it is now to allow state police to go into operation.
What means the country ripe for state police?
Nigeria is not ripe now for state police to go into operation, because not just from the point that governors will hijack the system against political opponent, and that one is a very straight point, a very serious point again. It's a very powerful point. Governors will hijack state policing system and use it against political opponents, and from there we will see that democracy, the ingredients of democracy at the local level will die completely, because too many people will lose the voice to even participate in political arrangement at the local level. Currently, the governors, they are making use of a talks, court bullies against their political opponent. And if you allow them to start the operation of state policing, presently, you know, who are the people that they are going to recruit into the system? You see these same talks that move around the governors that they will recruit into the state police system, and from there they will arm them with gun. Many people, especially women, will lose there will be no participation of women once we allow state policing to come into operation. And I will be of the opinion that the point of the IGP stating that Nigeria Security and Civil Defense and Federal Road Safety Corps, that they should merge them together. Not just merging them, they should go into proper recruitment of Nigeria. If they don't have enough hands in the current Nigerian police system, they should recruit Nigerian graduates. We have more than enough graduates, so some psychologists, some sociologists who have graduated long ago, for over 10 years. Majority of them, they are on the street, no job. They can recruit such people into the system, give them proper training. Even if the training will not be in Nigeria, they should take them to a place like India, Ghana, China, even US, to go and train them outside the country and bring them back again into the system. You will see the Nigerian police system change just miraculously. And again, our traditional system have to be reinforced. The traditional institution have to be reinforced. Now, presently, Nigerian police, they have what they call PCRC, Police Community Relation Committee. This PCRC, if they reform it to a level that they will be gathering information from this PCRC. PCRC is about community relation. If police can have that department and reinforce it, energize it, I think they will have any information they need. Since the traditional institution, they are not giving up to expectation. Because in the past, if the government, the securities of DSSS and police, anytime they need information from the grassroots, they reach out to community leaders But today, even the community leaders, they have lost their focus. They don't even have control of their subject anymore, because the majority of them, they are political appointees. They are not elected or appointed by the community.
All right, I would ask you, because you also said that you would accept the fact that FRSC and the NSCDC should be merged together with the police. You accepted it, yeah?
No, what I am saying is that the point that NSCDC and the FRSC, that is a Federal Road Safety Corps, should be merged together. That point should not even arise, because he's saying that because to him they don't have enough manpower. Okay. Then maybe possibly that is why he's saying that. So for the fact that if he's coming from that point that they don't have enough manpower, the best thing they should do is to recruit. Because we have enough Nigerian youth, graduates, NC holders, diploma holders, BSc holders, even MSc, who are on the street roaming. Nigeria have the best time now. Because I say we have the best time now because we have the highest number of youth in the whole world, Nigeria and India.
All right.
Nigeria and India, we have the highest number of youth in the whole world. But they are youth. They are not put to use presently. So,
all right.
If they recruit them into the system, it will be very good, and they will do wonderfully well by serving Nigeria from that and go. All
right. It's actually good that you're able to make us understand it better, because I thought you were saying that they should merge both of them together. So I wanted to read the role or the job description of both FRSC and NSCDC, and then ask you again if there should be a merger, but then you've already answered that. Now let's go to the lady in the house and then ask, taking a cue from what Richard Oriri said, he agreed to the fact that state policing will be used by state governors, but then we also always hear that he who comes to equity must come in with clean hands. So if we always say that don't bring in state policing because the governors will definitely use them for political reasons and all of that, should we stay on that and then use that as a continuous excuse not to develop?
Thank you, Annabel. I think you raised a very important question ab initio when he started speaking. If you say that Nigeria is not ready for state policing, the question is, when will Nigeria be ready for state policing?
Right.
And then, what are the parameters that define that readiness so that we can work towards it as a nation? I think for me, the perspective of the president on this is quite valid, because addressing the issue of state policing goes down to address the question of whether we want a truly federal republic of Nigeria. You can't have Federal Republic of Nigeria working without the necessary frameworks, that it takes to make it work, which would include the decentralization of the security architecture. The implication of that for Nigerians would be that there will be higher accountability moving to state levels. Because right now, as we have it, the question of securitization, one is relying less and less on the police and more on the military for issues that are civil. Because there is a federal attention to the issues and failures, that pertains to what the Nigerian police force is supposed to be delivering as the dividends of its own aspects of democracy and good governance.
Right.
Security for Nigerians should be localized. The more you bring it down to the center, the more you can focus attention on where accountability should focus on.
Okay.
He raised the issue of the governors, having the tendency to use it for political vendetta. But we've also seen that this has happened in federal instances as well. So it is not a question of who can misuse it. It's a question of how do we make federalism work, and how do we also empower the people to be also able to watch and observe that federal structure. If we decentralize state policing, what we're going to see is increased accountability. If the security architecture is not working, for instance, under that framework, we will have commissioners of police who know the people, who understand the plights of the people, who in fact are from the people and are parts of the people.
Right.
And at some point, you see, no matter how the governor, you think, he is free, to do whatever he wants, there is a people that know him. And if the people cannot have direct access to him, he is to some extent sharing a mutuality of risk and vulnerability. Okay. Because he would have his people, the people can reach to.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to that question again, right? But let's quickly take this call before we continue. Good morning.
Yeah, beautiful morning to you, Annabel, Mr. Oriri, and Glory. Good morning. You are on to SMD from Lagos.
SMD calling us from Lagos. Great to hear from you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Annabel, seriously, I really concur with what Mr. Oriri mentioned, and then there is something, some little bit of argument in terms of what Glory was trying to put. But to me, we are not yet ready. Honestly, we are not at the stage of the set policy. You will agree with me. Very good example. Look at what happened with Kogi State Governor, the former Kogi State Governor, and his successor. Exactly, just look at that scenario and ask yourself, are we for real? That's number one. Secondly, this issue of state policy raised by the governors. What happened with the local government autonomy? Why are they not on it? The local government autonomy will be far bigger than what we are trying to do. Because when people are not when people are living in their own, jurisdiction, and then the essential commodities are there, why all this security will be existing?
Right.
Now, coming to the traditional institution, in those days, when you have a visitor in your home, your father used to go to the head of that clan and then present that visitor and tell the head of the clan the purpose of his visit, and whatsoever they know they are aware of his availability there. In those days, things were equally, in a good shape in this country. In those days, I could remember I spent late night outside. I was escorted to our home by police officers to knock the gate to confirm whether I belong to that home. I don't know whether you understand what I mean.
Right.
So traditional institutions should put into consideration in our 1999 constitution.
Right.
Watch how the response. You understand my point? Why is it that when it comes to campaign, if they go to a state, they have to go to that traditional leader? They must have to go. If there is area there, the branch in question will have to first go to that area and then present himself.
All right.
Why are they not trying to give them the constitutional right? Let them give them some time, even if it is short and long time. Let them see.
All right, SMD.
Security will change, believe in me, but advocating on state policy is not the right thing to do. Let them advocate on local government and autonomy and see the result. Thank you very much. I remain SMD from Lagos.
SMD from Lagos, always good to hear from you. Thank you so much for your contribution. I'll come back to you, Glory. Now, SMDs and Richard Oriri, they are against state policing. But I am wondering, wouldn't it be better? Because I remember what happened in Lagos when they were having that issue. I think it was with Magodo Estate, who owns Magodo and all of that. And then I remember the governor of Lagos State, Sanwo-Olu coming out, he called on the police, and then there and then the police officer told him, I do not take orders from you. I only take orders from the IGP, and I've not gotten anyone yet. So now I'm wondering, if you have commissioners, if you have one IGP that is being put in, let's say, Imo State, and then they have theirs. If something happens in Imo State, I don't need to call the one in the federal. Isn't that better?
Exactly. I agree that it is better. We would have more reaction, more responsiveness, which would mean that the reaction time would also be shorter.
Okay.
And in a case where there is a need for, say, for instance, one state to collaborate with another state on an information on something that is happening in another state, then there would already be existing, frameworks for sharing intelligence. So I don't see how that is going to be a problem. I believe that also, when we have state policing, we're going to have a situation in which the people themselves understand the issues that are affecting the people at a local level. They also are able to understand over time the patterns for crimes that are happening at local levels. So at some point, they'll be able to more easily predict and preempt criminals, on the actions they are going to take. I also want to give an instance of, relating to what you've mentioned. Remember some years ago, in Uyo, there was a situation in which they discovered some people, they caught 18 criminals, you know, with AK-47, you know, and they were detained at the state level. And they received an information, you know, an order from above, you know, Abuja in this case, to release those guys. Now, these people are people who are already threatening the security of people at state level. Do you think that if we have state policing, it would have been resolved that way? You have commissioners of police who sometimes do not consider themselves to be such, you know, a significant stakeholder in the security and securitization of the people at state levels. And you must understand that within the idea of this federal issue, people have their sentiments, and we cannot run away from the question of the reality that people are still, to a very good extent, controlled by ethnic, you know, and sectional emotions and sentiments. Right. So when you put, you know, the responsibility for security at state levels, then they feel like they are a part of it, and then they feel more as stakeholders to protect the state. Or like somebody who may feel that, oh, after some years I'm going to be transferred after all, and the accountability may not really matter so much what I do. If you're from that state, it would matter, because not just you, but your own people as well will be suffering, will be at risk, and can also even receive action from the people if possible.
Right. Thank you so much.
In reaction to what my friend Glory said, and what the caller said, with Nigeria today, the governors are championing security, because that is the only avenue they use in siphoning public funds. Why are they not channeling their energy towards governance? Now, Sister Glory, she's saying that if there is state policing now today, the people will know that the commissioner of police at the state level is coming from them, is somebody that is from within them. We have had several issues where governors come from the people, and they are not giving governance to the people. Look at Kogi State governor is running around now, refusing to be prosecuted by EFCC. Is he not from the people? Now, we have local government chairmen who are directly from the people. We have councillors who are directly from the people. Why are we not talking about issue of governance at the local level? Once we address issue of governance, issue of security will disappear in Nigeria. That is the truth. Now, look at what the brother said, the person who called. I grew up in a traditional home, in a palace, where I work almost like a PA to my father. In those days, there's no how a stranger will enter a community without the traditional ruler of that particular community knowing that somebody new is in the community. The person you come to visit will definitely go and register your name before the traditional ruler.
Right.
And they know about it. Now, we have been agitating that there should be separation of funds between local government and state government. There's something they call joint account. That joint account, if there's separation, federation and location is going directly to the local government chairman. Is that not a good avenue where the people at the local level will have the opportunity to ask direct questions to the chairman? These funds are coming in. What are you doing with it? Presently now, there's no local government chairman that you will take to EFCC. And you will see the local government chairman sleeping a night in the EFCC, because governors will come immediately to rescue them, because they know that they are not the one stealing the money. It's the governor that are stealing the money through joint account. All the state of the federation today, we have what they call SA to the governor on local government and chieftaincy matters. At the end of every month, once the allocation comes in, they will go and meet with the special advisor on local government and chieftaincy matter, all the local government chairmen. And they will carry out a meeting. After the meeting, see, your local government is 300 million naira. But how much is your salary strength? Maybe in that local government, the salary strength is about 40-something million naira, not even up to 100 million naira. Okay, we will release the money for the salary. They will release money for salary. Then they will talk about impress. They will calculate impress. Release more money for impress. The rest, the remaining other fund is state government that knows what to do about it. Right. And this is criminality. This is pure criminal. Now, if we address issue of governance in Nigeria today, all the local government chairmen, we have 774 local government in Nigeria. Majority of these local government chairmen who have boundary with their neighboring local government, they are not even relating with each other as chairmen. to even manage the security system within that their circle. Governors in Nigeria, 36 state governors, including the FCT minister, they are not even relating, like the FCT minister now is supposed to be relating with Nasarawa state governor. We need to move to another security. These are the areas where we should address governance. Once we table governance is addressed, issue of security will disappear.
All right, teacher, we need to move to other stories. Let's still stay on the security. Our time is fast spent. We need to move to other stories. We have loads of stories to talk about, reports or headlines rather to talk about. And then still staying on insecurity. Here you have illegal foreign funds mining and illegal foreign funds and mining fueling terrorism. That's coming from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He says that both illegal mining and paying ransom for bandits, that's the more reason why you have the issue of terrorism not being obliterated in Nigeria. Do you agree with that, Glory?
Well, I mean, that's significant, you know, when it comes to the implications of how much is being made, you know, from especially the issue of, you know, the ransom, because a lot of people now are perfecting that act. Also because, of course, the checks on it have been very limited. But again, there are structural issues that push people to that, you know, to those tendencies. And those things also need to be addressed. The issues of governance that Richard was trying to raise should be about the end-to-end solutions. You know, you're not going to solve one problem without, you know, addressing the other. So I think that while these mining issues and ransom issues, you know, are key factors, we also must consider the structural issues within the country that make people so vulnerable and desperate, you know, to work towards such tendencies.
Okay, so I'll bring that question to you, Richard Oriri. Illegal mining, foreign funds, ransom payments, fueling terrorism. I actually saw a particular headline. I was trying to look for it, but I can't find it. I'm sure I'll find it before we leave that headline. Coming from Abbas, that's the House of Rep Speaker, talking about how much has been paid for ransom since 2010 rather. He talked about till date. So I was wondering if you keep piling up this money and then you talk about don't pay ransom for bandits, but then the president on the flip side is telling us that terrorism ransom is the reason why terrorism might not be obliterated anytime soon. Do you agree with that stance actually, even though they tell us don't pay ransom to bandits?
I align myself completely with the point raised by Sister Glory.
So for this one you are fair.
I align myself completely with the point raised by Sister Glory on the fact that the reason that this issue of terrorism, kidnapping is going on is because it's structural. It's a structural problem. Like the two of them, Speaker and the President, who spoke against this now, they are all leaders today. The question I am asking is that there is what we call contagious effect. If something has happened here and nothing happened, if it happened here, they will say nothing will equally happen. That is why we see, like issue of let's take an example from Wadume in Taraba State, who was arrested and possibly was it taken to prison or something like that, or is under prosecution. What has happened to Wadume? When we go to Lagos State, the most wanted kidnapper in Lagos, what is that his name? Evans. The case is still lingering till tomorrow. It's structural. If federal government, state government who are in charge of the prosecution of these criminals cannot do away with them, cannot even within speedy trial, let's say within one week or 1 month, they are done with it, and if it is they prosecute you, if it is to send you to jail, if it demand you being sentenced to death, they sentence you to death. Others will take precaution from that. But in Nigeria, we have not seen clearly where a kidnapper has been either jailed or sentenced to death, and then publicly you are executed Nothing has happened in that line. And because of that, other people will say, if I can succeed in getting up to 100 million from this, I will hide 70 million naira. If I am arrested, I will take a lawyer, they will bring me, they will take me to court and I will be out. Because nothing has happened to anybody. So now, they shouldn't talk about illegal mining and not. Illegal mining is because majority of the people who are engaged in this mining at the local level, they are people who are willing to work, but they don't have work. And within the environment, they have natural resources that they can tap, sell, and make money to feed themselves.
Illegally, Richard.
What is illegal? If let's say me now, if I have resources in my local community, and I don't have the fund to come to Abuja to register in the Ministry of it's not stealing. I'm doing it publicly. Anything you are doing publicly that people sees you, it's not
without government license to it.
Government license, how will you have access to that license as a poor person in your community? And the same government, they are not putting resources together to come and harness these resources within your environment and then pay little premium to you. That means you make use of it.
That means, Richard, that means you are accepting crude oil theft.
No, what you're saying. Is it not the same federal government and some of these senior persons within the system that are stealing oil? Do you think it's what the Niger Delta boys are doing? What the Niger Delta boys are doing is just little things that they are doing. Go to the high sea. That's where you will see real bunkering. Very big ships inside the Nigerian sea. Almost every month they take more than how many million liters of crude from the sea, high sea. Do you think they are not aware of it? They are aware of it.
Okay, so I'm sure.
They are aware of it. So let us not even talk about. If they want to stop illegal bunkering, they will stop it, but they should not focus their attention on what the Niger Delta boys are doing. That is very small.
Richard, before we ask you one question.
The high sea oil theft. The high sea oil theft is. We have Nigerian Navy.
Richard, let me ask you. Richard, let me ask you one question before we leave this. Let me ask you one question before we leave this one. Now, some people say. Some people would say that all thief, not thief. All die, not die.
Yes.
I had a guest yesterday that says if you're a pastor and you're stealing 1 million naira from your church wallet, you're a thief.
Yes.
And then if you're a government official, you're stealing 1 billion naira, you're a thief.
Yes.
But then in Nigeria, we have this perception that if you are in government and you're stealing 500 million naira, and you have a director who has stolen 1 billion naira, then you are not a thief. You are a sick person. Are you saying that you are aligning to that, or you are aligning to all these matters?
What I am telling you, go to EFCC and check their record. Almost all the 300, 500 people they say they have jailed, they are people that have stolen 5,000, 3,000, even handset, and all of that. But the high criminals within the government system, what have they done to them?
So are you saying still 500 naira?
You will not see their list.
Still small or still big?
No, they should be sincere to Nigerians. That is what I am saying. They should be sincere to Nigerians. Like now, Nigerian focus, our government today, the focus is just on oil. We have mineral resources in almost all the states of the Federation. Go to Jos here, Plateau State here. There's for over how many years now, somebody told me that the Chinese people, they are in Jos, tapping something, what they are tapping and taking to China, they use it to manufacture gearbox, vehicle gearbox. And Nigeria, we are blind to it. If you go to even Nasarawa State here, Benue State, in my community we have limestone. If you go to Ebonyi State, not just salt in Ebonyi, they have what they call lead zinc. This is that they use in manufacturing this light, this bulb.
Richard, we are
not tapping them. And when the community, where God has given them this opportunity to have this mineral deposit, when the community people go there to tap, you call them criminals. Why are you not coming to develop these mineral resources? And we have enough funds to do that.
All right,
they should not blindfold us. We are not kids anymore.
Richard, in my understanding, what you're saying is, if you want to steal well. Or if you want to eat frog, eat the good cut. That is what I understand from
on one of the issues that he has raised, we need to really work on our intra-agency regulatory mechanisms and measures. Because you see, even with this issue of illegal mining, illegal bunkering and the rest, they're not done without, especially at the elite level, without sufficient connivance with the Navy, you know, and also with key people in the general, you know, armed forces, as well as the elites. You see, and these issues must be addressed. I understand that there is no excuse whatsoever for people to undermine the general security interest of people in stealing our public goods and services, our commons. But there is a real, you know, there should be attention on working to fish out those naval officers who connive on these issues, especially with the elite, because I know that this thing happens. There are also cases where we have even some helicopters flying into some of our states, especially in the north, without permission, without records, you know, that have been permitted. Yes, that have been well permitted with the, you know, with the knowledge of some people in the armed forces. So these things have to be investigated. And when we want to make significant, you know, arrests and, you know, make a statement with regards to addressing that as a security matter, the best way to make that statement with a scapegoat is with somebody at the top, not at the bottom, because all those people who are stealing for survival, even if we do not make excuses for them, they should not be the ones, they won't even be the ones who will make people dread to address, you know, or to engage on such issues. Right. It is when the elites suffer, or the people who appear to be untouchable.
All right, our time is fast spent, but if you can help us, so I'll ask you 2 questions and I'd like you to unbundle them in one breath. I will take them, both of you will take these 2 headline, but please help us in 2 minutes if you can. Punch newspaper says no Nigerian shopper. Chinese operator risks sanction as federal government shuts Abuja supermarket. I don't know if you've been following that story since last weekend, where you had some people who said that there's a particular supermarket, a Chinese supermarket here in Abuja. It's located somewhere in Kuje, where Nigerians are not allowed to shop in there, only foreigners, especially Chinese, and the security officials told Nigerians you cannot enter. So what are your thoughts in that regard? How do you actually come into another person's land, use their security, use their water, their electricity and all, and then you ask them not to use your business or come into that business? That's one. And then the second one is Obi says something about, I think that's on Daily Sun, says Obi raises concern over Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway project, says it is misplaced priority because it will be completed in 30 years. Are we supposed to be majoring on our major or minoring on our minor things? 2 of them. Let's start with the first one from you, Glory.
Okay, so the question of the shoppers, you know, it tells us the extent to which we respect ourselves as Nigerians and the extent to which we respect our own people, the value that we attach to it. Yes, the security agencies are right if they're shutting that down. I'm not aware of it, but it is important to make that statement unequivocally, that our people are that valuable. I mean, you cannot sectionalize within our own country. Can we do that? Can a Nigerian do that in China? You know, or can a Nigerian do this in any other country? No. So that's something that should be addressed. And if that's, and I would like to see that as something that is addressed to the end of it, not just starting to make a news headline and at the end of the day they go back and settle, because that's usually what happens. We hear nothing and it continues. Then on the issue of what Peter Obi raised on the coastal roads, Lagos to Calabar, well, I understand the need for the realities of Nigerians of today. People are hungry, people are starving, unemployment, you know, is on the rise, and yes, the government needs to address issues that are, you know, key to the questions of survival, because really the larger population of the people, you know, are on the survivalist threshold right now. But in all sincerity, I also have a sense of value for projects that are also long-term, because, you know, if you're a Christian, there's a scripture that says you will always have the poor among you. Right. It is good for a government to project long-term. However, I think if I understand him correctly, it is usually about the question of how much is being spent on that road vis-a-vis the value that it is going to give to Nigerians, you know, and especially when you compare that same amount to what it would have taken to achieve it if it were another country. Right. You know, the corruption, the kickback mechanisms is what makes it difficult. Otherwise, there's no problem with long-term projects. A matter of fact, long-term projects, you know, are very necessary. All right, Richard Oriri, let's get your response in that regard. First, with regards to the Chinese restaurant, in fact, supermarket, I beg your pardon, in Abuja. And then there's even another one that says consumer agency plans Wednesday tribunal, says CCTV footage shows shop owner fled Monday morning. And the federal government identifies fleeing
train operator. And then they also say there's an Indian school here in Nigeria that bars Nigerian students. And then if India, they're so good with their economy, Chinese, they're doing well, why bring in a school or a supermarket here in Nigeria and then ask that Nigerians should not patronize from there? And then we'll also talk about the Obi statement with regards to the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. Because if you remember, Atiku Abubakar raised some issue around that area, says that there is fraud in that regard. Let's get your thoughts in this.
I align myself with Sister Glory on the issue of Chinese supermarket issue. And I think the idea of racial discrimination, I think, is dead long ago, and they don't have to bring it back again. Even if they have to bring it back, it shouldn't be in Nigeria, it should not be here. Because our people are no longer blind like the way they were before now. But then
somebody, sorry I had to butt in, but somebody will tell you that after all there are some shops or some business areas or supermarket that are mainly meant, you have religious people, I don't want to put name to it, they'll tell you this is mainly for this particular religious people, or this is meant for only this particular religious people. Don't you think that probably they are looking in that angle and decided to do same?
That for the first time from you. I've not heard of it before, that a particular joint is meant for a particular religion, another joint is meant for another particular religion. I don't think we are too religious like that. Yes, Nigeria is a secular state, but I don't think we have gone to that level. We have reached that level yet in Nigeria. But let me go back to this Chinese restaurant or Chinese supermarket issue. We cannot just be talking about it on the surface like that. It's something that our government have to invite the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria to explain to us why it's happening that way, because they have their channel of communication in that level. Because all of them, they belong to the UN. They belong to UN, so they have that channel of communication. They should handle it at that level so that we don't allow it to generate into another serious thing that will cause our bilateral relation serious friction.
All right.
Now we have to leave it at that level. Then from the angle of this former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, talking about the ring road. Is it ring road or which road?
The Lagos Calabar
Coastal Highway. Yes, a long-term project sometimes benefit the country more, but the point where we are now, where Nigerians are suffering from unemployment, high level of unemployment, food insecurity. There are too many things, normal insecurity on the area of health. We don't have health security anymore in Nigeria because majority of our local health centers, you can't even find paracetamol in our health centers. Insecurity in almost everywhere. So that money that they are injecting into the construction of that road can be used for other major things that will solve our present problems in the country.
All right.
And like Atiku said, that project is meant to steal in our funds, and that possibly maybe somebody must have sold that idea to the president to see how they will use that project, because when Buhari was in power, they uses Rotimi Amechi to take loan from China for Port Harcourt Kaduna railway or something like rail. That accountability we are still waiting to hear what Ministry of Transport will tell us regarding that. All the loans taken for that railway, we can't have any facts about it today. Possibly, maybe that is what they are using here for possibly 2027 election funding, and like they did in the railway. So we have to be so accountable to the people this time around, and raising that issue is very, very important and very key to Nigerians.
Thank you so much, Richard Oriri, politician. It's always a pleasure having this talk with you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much, Glory. Ukwenga, Executive Director, Africana League. It is a pleasure having this talk with you.
Thank you for having me.